back with another episode of the Youth Ministry Booster Podcast, Hang Out in the Garage. My name is Zach Workin. This is my best friend.
I'm Chad Higgins.
Hey, buddy.
How are
Welcome
you?
to the Ice Cave. Somebody wrote in and said, it looks like y'all are hanging out in like the Fortress of Solitude. And I just want to show, I want to show some appreciation for the, you know, the old DC Comics Superman
Little
dig.
Superman.
Yeah, I don't know if that was like intentionally a dig, but I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to celebrate it. So it is chillier now. We do record from the garage. So the hoodie and overshirt are not just for fashion, they're also for function. It's chilly out here.
I prefer the winter over the summer months of recording.
Fair enough.
By quite a bit.
But much rather layer up than shed down. Yeah,
I would much rather just be cold than be hot, right?
Always. There's so many more cool jackets that we could just put on and wear. So, so for anybody that's watching backlogs of episodes, they're like, man, look, all the changing clothes, it's happening. It's happening because it's happening in real time. So real people.
One of the other things about colder weather that I thoroughly enjoy is the food that comes along with it.
Oh, there is.
Like
there
a
is
good
mix
soup or a good crock pot.
Dude, is there anything better than warm soup belly?
Warm chili belly.
Warm chili belly. Oh, indeed. Warm chili belly. Forget the turkey, forget the ham. I'm here for warm chili belly.
All right, so let's just start this episode off in controversy.
Just gonna divide the room? You're just gonna go ahead and divide the room?
Are you a beans or no beans chili guy?
Beans. I'll say it. I'll say it to the whole room. It's beans. It's the best possible thing apart from cheese and mustard that you could put on chili.
Why do you have to put mustard on literally everything you do?
What are you talking about? Mustard's delicious. It's low calorie. It's natural. It's in the Bible. Mustard's amazing. Like, let your faith grow.
I mean, Jesus' representation of mustard is in a small amount. Like, that was the whole point.
But it's so mighty, right? It's such a mighty flavor. Just let it cut through. No, beans on chili for me. And typically, I'm just here for the Wolf brand. Like, keep it simple, keep it real.
No, I'm done. What camera do I look at for a new host, co-host?
You're just gonna apply for a new host.
Hey, make sure to reach out to me. You can contact me at chad.higgins@lifeway.com. That is my real email. I am currently looking for a new co-host.
Looking for new
Stop
friends.
moving cameras on me. Where do I look? I need someone different to sit in this chair. I'm going to need somebody with a little bit of knowledge on how to work the board because I have no idea. But we can have a good time.
We can have a good time and bean-free chili. What do you do? Okay? If it's not beans, cheese, mustard, and Wolf brand, what is the Higgins house doing that's so superior in their chili?
Okay, I'm fine with beans.
Okay.
Okay. Now, perfect. Like, if I'm going like old school, if I want like authentic chili, then yes, I believe it's no beans.
Okay.
Being a guy in South,
Okay.
close to Texas,
I can respect that the bean-free chili is a vintage pick, but a personal pick, I think no beans. Okay, so vintage chili, no beans.
But I
What
like
are
a
you
good
doing?
bean. I like
Okay.
a good like chili bean in my chili. But I'm definitely not going mustard.
Oh, it's the best.
I am a sour cream guy.
Okay. A little baked potato bar.
Potato.
Slice that bad boy open, chili up them taters. We got a
But
carb feast.
you cannot even say that like when you're thinking about chili that Wolf brand is like an acceptable substitute.
I didn't say it's the best, but in our household, that's what we go. It's a comfort food. It's like when the flavors of Wolf brand bring me comfort. Bring
food.
me comfort.
Wolf brand chili is what I imagine me like surviving on in the apocalypse.
It's the end of the world.
Yeah, like
me and my literal hunting wolf and my Wolf brand chili. That's fine.
Okay,
well,
I got to tell this story. I whether or not I should like release names or not, I don't know. I have a friend who once came over to my house, and he was like, "You have anything to eat?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, go help yourself. You know, there's a kitchen.
There's stuff in the pantry.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna cook you something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But help yourself.
Rustle up whatever you can find.
Anything you want in there." And we just grocery shop. Like there are enough options for sure. He went into our pantry Okay. He comes back into the living room. I think I'm watching like a Red Sox game or something. He comes back into my living room. Wolf brand chili can in hand.
Okay. He went full can?
But he's eating it cold.
Like cold out the can chili?
Yes. I'm like, what kind of hobo are you?
You name this person and we post their photo online.
Where Drew, you know who
it's
you
Drew.
are. Yeah.
Oh no, Drew. Gross. Yeah. Was he okay?
I mean,
was he going through a rough time?
Maybe.
Okay.
You know,
all right.
but
Pray for Drew.
right, like just put it in a bowl and warm it up.
Yeah, like there's a microwave. My God, cold. Not even like it was like prepared. Oh, I can't even imagine.
Just spooning it.
I can't
straight
imagine
out of the
the
can.
scenario. It's not even cold. It's room temp chili. Oh, that feels worse.
And then when I brought it up, he acted like
you were the guilty party.
Like, what do you mean?
Oh
like,
my gosh,
dude, that's like that is like. Honestly, I'll be honest. I think that is a label on the outside of the can, away from just straight up eating dog food.
That's an easy late night pantry confusion where you ate kibble. I mean, that is legitimately.
And I don't think he would know until the next morning.
Know. I don't know if room temp chili versus dog food is discernible.
That's a student ministry game though that people would do back in the 90s.
That's actually the 90s as a meme. Which can is it? Doesn't matter. We're going to play the game.
Yeah.
Like bring your canned food drive. Oops, somebody brought dog food. Congratulations. We got a game going.
I've never almost kicked somebody out of my house more. Like,
yeah, like he wants to come over again. What was he? Is he? What, do you ever go to his house and have snacks? Because that's just terrifying.
I'm afraid.
I'm afraid of what it might be. Well, speaking of things we take for granted, so we're going to spend the next few episodes, if you're jumping in a series, talking about relationships. One of the things that I think for a lot of folks, maybe they're doing wrong, like room temperature chili, and didn't even know it, is the relational opportunities that happen when we gather weekly. I think every youth ministry of folks that we work with and talk to, there's some kind of weekly gathering, whether it's like the weekend, Sunday, midweek. It's good for us to be in the habit of meeting together. But there, I think, in the places that we visited and the folks that we've talked to, some missed opportunities or some low-hanging fruit, either for you, youth minister, or some of your volunteers, to make relational connections throughout what you're doing beyond the just like planned, hey, we're going to have small group of relationship connection time. I think there's a lot of ministries, more than would care to admit, that a lot of their relationship time happens when it's planned, and we don't always know what to look for in some of these other moments. So, Chad, walk us through some of the things we were talking before the show started about seeing with fresh eyes. I think that's one of the things. We've got to see relational opportunities with fresh eyes, because some of us have been in it so long, the things that were obvious are no longer obvious to us. And so therefore we can't always help our leaders or our leadership students.
So the first thing, and a lot of this episode, just to like bring it in, I think we talk about the normal Wednesday night.
Yeah, your midweek hang or Sunday hang or whenever the youth
Your
time
big
is.
gathering.
Yeah.
One of the things that I would point out first and foremost that I think many of us can get into the bad habit of is still working on the ministry close to the time of start.
Okay.
Like if you're still setting up and getting ready and getting the game ready, and you have students there that are also not like worker students, right? That maybe aren't on your leadership team, that you needed them to come in early. I think that's a missed opportunity.
You're cutting your own legs out because you're not giving yourself the bandwidth of when it can happen. Like youth at 6:30 needs to be ready well before 6, not 6:25. Yeah.
Well, and I think there's sometimes, and there are hard decisions.
Or even the night before. Yeah.
There are hard decisions that have to be made.
Sure.
Because of the importance of relationship, and this one's going to maybe step on some toes.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that it's one way or another. Hear me out on that. But I definitely think it's something to consider. there are so many youth pastors that are also leading their own worship team
Yeah.
and that are having to do like
sound guy duty or
pre-check,
play in the band.
And
Yeah.
I actually think that you are missing a lot of relational opportunity when students are gathering in your lobby, hangout time, because you have those responsibilities.
Sure.
To the point that I would like, if I were your, family ministry person over, I would be asking that question to my student minister of going, hey, I see your value in this.
Yeah.
And I know
you enjoy doing it. I get most of the guys that are doing it enjoy doing it, or
Right.
it's like a passion, or it's like a double dip of blessing and gifts. Yeah.
Well, and even the reality of the fact that you are the one leading it may make the quality much better.
Sure. Like you help make it better. Yeah.
But is what you're giving up for that time worth it?
Yeah.
And that's hard.
That's
and
a
that's
real
something
question.
that's not an easy, like, you should or shouldn't do it, right? But you need to be thinking about, like, is me being in the band, running this element beforehand when students are coming in, like, is that the best place for me?
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is this. New students that come into that time, I've not seen statistics with student ministry. I know this to be true with adults, and so I assume there's at least ties or correlation. Before the first song ever even happens on a Sunday morning with adults, before the service even begins, if you're new to that church, you know whether or not you're planning on coming back.
Okay.
Before the service ever even starts.
You're deciding before the sermon if we'll be back here or not.
Correct.
That's it's real. And I think the thing that I would want to make sure and double down on is you can't be relational in the rooms that you're not in.
Sure.
Of your own effort. We'll talk about in a minute how that gets qualified later. And so one of the things that you may find is, man, I love this worship team. I get to spend time with them. And that's good. And for the 4 to 6 of them that you spend a lot of time with, but if you're occupying yourself with that group of folks that are always occupied in that place, in that room, in that stage or environment, you are limiting your multiplying impact through other students or leaders that might be available.
Yeah.
And again, yes, quality always, committed to excellence, we're here for it, but maybe not every week we have songs if they're not ready, or maybe we do a few less songs to have more time, or maybe you trust that they will grow in their giftings or find extra help outside of yourself so you can be where you need to be.
Right.
And that's our permission to share and give.
Well, and what I would say too is this, and it gets to our next point, is you can be in that space.
Yeah.
If you have system and structure and leaders prepared that you trust that can be in the rooms that you're not in.
Yep.
So you mentioned before the episode we were talking, and I was kind of thinking through this for myself over the years of there are best places to even think through for your volunteer leaders. Like, where do we want to be in the room? And so when we talk about relationship, now I know everybody's room's different. They have different things. And,
sometimes when we say different rooms, it's just parts of the same room.
Right.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So
it's the most amazing hallway ever.
Give me some examples when you're thinking through encouraging, training leaders on a normal Wednesday night or Sunday for most student ministries. What would be places that you would encourage, and how would you encourage those volunteer leaders?
The first thing I would share is this is the best way to talk about how you're recruiting leaders for help. I think sometimes we just recruit leaders en masse to be in a room. I think there's 2 things to think about. Like, one, who are the leaders that we have or we are recruiting? And then part of recruiting them isn't just their assignment, middle school guys or high school girls or whatever the teaching, mentoring, like group that you're gifting to them. But where's the best possible spot to connect with them in the places that we have set up, if we have those places set up? Like, this is we have a youth space room, it's a classroom, it's a building, it's a gym. Even if it's temporary portable stuff that we have to set up and tear down every week, where is the large group active thing? the basketball, the football, the gaga ball. Like we got to have something that's big and active for the students that really crave that. Where is the like intimate connective thing? Where is the card game, the board game? Maybe it's like coloring sheets, or for some groups it may even be like knitting or crocheting. Like that's a thing. Like knitting circles, they're back, man. It may not be your thing, but for somebody that might be a thing, or for your students. Where is the like conversation thing? Where's the table and the coffee? Where's the tea bar? Where's the place that people can sit and talk? Or where's the digital stuff? Where's the video games? Where's the, I don't know, the VR headset that everybody's laughing? Look at that guy, or whatever. Like what are the different things that students could be possibly into or attached to? And then where are the leaders that could be a part of those things that are happening pre? I know this sounds like more work, because it is, but these pre things, these gathered things in their own multiplicity are the fun that we talked about a few episodes ago, but they're also the built-in connection points for different kinds of leaders to connect with all kinds of students.
Because you, back in the day, you would have like a person that was like over board games.
100, and sometimes that would shift, but part of our pre-huddle was like who has what. And so like Cameron was in charge of giant Uno, and Tiffany was in charge of the coffee bar. And so there was a little bit of cross training between stuff, but we had the 9 square, the video game wall, a couple big board games. We had the coffee bar. We had the couch area for like the kids that didn't know where else to go. And we would just plant leaders there. They were our most like conversational and extroverted, that like kids coming in. So more than just greeters at the door, we had like plants in the room. And this might even extend for some of you, like, man, I don't have enough adult leaders for that. You might have enough high school or older student leaders for some of those things. And man, what a gift for one of your gamer guys or girls to be in charge of running the impromptu Mario Kart tournament beforehand. Yeah. Or what a way to get your athletes there. If like, hey man, before we start tonight, we're going to do a little shoot around on basketball stuff. Yeah. And I'm going to give whoever wins gotcha a gift card or whatever. Yeah.
So speaking specifically of students and relational, that was,
but plans and purposes. Like there are people that aren't just like in the room and we're hoping for the best. We are like training on like, no. You're set up here, giant Uno cards, and it's not just the game. You are like barking, calling, beckoning, like, come play, we need two more. And you make it that like intentionally a little bit, crank the volume, crank the dial to get them involved and connected.
Well, so that was one of the things that we did with our leadership students is we moved all adults away from the door.
Yeah, okay. A kid-friendly door. I like that.
So, because before we really started thinking through that, of just like, we had leaders there on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
My leaders.
Just a crowd of adults and like teenagers in here. That's lands weird. Yeah,
well, but you would, if you don't, for a lot of adults, if you don't give them clear expectations of where.
Right.
They will bunch.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so
the back of the room, the front of the house, like wherever they can be with other adults.
Well, so for my teams, what I saw is for a lot of adults that sign up to serve, if it's not clear, they believe they've got to be doing something.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we had a whole check-in process.
Okay.
So naturally they would roll into those roles.
Because that was something to be done.
It was something to be done.
Okay.
Right. And so, or like, I'm going to work the snack shack or those kind of things. And so they naturally fit themselves
because they want to do something. They don't want to just come stand around.
Because for most people, they don't realize the benefit of the relational connection.
Yeah.
That doesn't specifically, and not to be a gendered thing, but specifically for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
They're doers, right? And so it's like, I'm not going to just walk around this room and randomly talk to kids.
Yeah.
But if you can...
It goes against everything else I've been trained against to do. Yeah. Hey, just walk up and talk to random teenagers. Nope, not going to do that.
Not going to do that.
But in this environment, we have a plan.
Well, but when you can set them at the 9 square and you're going, okay, I need you to police this game.
Yeah.
But your main goal is not to police the game.
Yeah.
Your main goal is to connect, get to know students' names, see the students that aren't connecting and get them more connected. And so you can have eyes around the room. If the big goals are, we want our students to be known, and we want to be looking out for wallflowers.
Yeah.
The other side, and you mentioned extroverts. I think you've got to be intentional to have enough introverted
Okay.
leaders
Okay.
also on your team that you're thinking through, hey, Zach,
Yeah.
and this is definitely not you, but
Right.
let's imagine
Yeah.
you're the introvert now.
Yeah.
For me to just get to say to you, hey, I don't need you to be the barker.
Right.
Hey, you're the best I know
Yeah.
at creating intentional, unique conversations with a small group.
Yeah.
Can you be that? Have your, eyes out for those students that they're a little nervous to be there. Make them feel welcome.
Yeah.
But
That's good.
we moved all of our students to that welcome space.
Yeah. Front load the kids.
The great thing about them is they're the opposite of adults.
Okay.
That if you don't give them a job, they will just hang.
They'll just hang. They're here to hang. Which is a gift. It is a gift.
But making sure that they had unique roles in our check-in process.
Yes.
Was so good because they brought a lot of energy to the front of the check-in.
Yeah.
It gave them defined roles of you needed to make sure that all of these name tag things were handed out, all that kind of stuff that's easy to identify, easy to train on, and so those were great.
Wow. And I know for some folks listening, it sounds like a lot of work just to make a weekly gathering happen. It's not all going to the change be made at once. I think the little things as you're listening, if this is not a part of your rhythm to think through, are gathering up with your leaders before you start, having enough bandwidth to rally and focus either that day or over a Zoom call before or the Sunday before the Wednesday. Everybody that's showing up should know their assignment. To use the language, they should know that, like, I'm here to show up and do this. More than just the questions you send out, what's the space that I can occupy a part of our relational system to make those meaningful connections?
Well, everybody wants to grow.
Yes.
And nobody's willing to admit that the structure you currently have is the number of students.
Where you're at is perfectly suited for the structure you've created. We fill spaces. Like, one of the things that the more we do this and we hear from folks, people fill the capacity, the relational or physical space, and the ways in which it's designed. And so there may be a little work that we've got to do to take it back a few notches to figure out what we don't have or don't do that we might need to do. And as mechanical as that sounds, those are the moves, the thoughts, and the stratagems it takes to make relational stuff happen and flourish and grow. It will feel organic, but there was a plan. There was always a plan.
All right, last relational space that I want to talk about.
Okay.
And this is a soapbox for me.
Okay. It's coming. Okay. Here it comes.
I think my observation over the years is far too many youth ministers are staying inside the room or inside their building at the end of the night.
Yes.
And I think you are missing an opportunity to relationally connect with moms and dads out in the parking lot that are picking up their kids.
In the same, so I was about to say it earlier when you said front-loading students on the welcome team. I think you need to load up amazing relational adult leaders on the exit team, because the best thing that students want to see when they show up is friendly faces. The best thing that parents want to show up when they pick their kid up is adult faces. Oh, they were really well supervised, and here's the small group leader that was with my son or daughter, as opposed to, like, they keep talking about Dan. I've never seen Dan. What's a Dan? But Dan's out in the parking lot. He's shaking hands. Like, that's the win for both the group, the ministry, and especially you. I get it. You want to get cleaned up, you want to get out of there, or that one student has your attention. Set an appointment for later. Don't miss those easy moments of a few minutes with parents that may or may not need you fully, but the awareness and the relationship building, because it's slow building. It is building. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes energy. Find yourself very visible in the exit strategy and not buried behind the soundboard because there was a technical issue and you're trying to fix it right now. It'll keep, but the parents coming and going to pick up their students will not. Maximize that moment, 100%.
And little secret along the way, if you have an important announcement that you're trying to get out, you're not going to hit every parent.
Right.
Because you've got driving students and all that kind of stuff. But the flyer that you hand them to take home, for every 7th grader, it's not going home.
It's never home.
You just need to know that.
It's going
accept it.
between the cushions of the couch. At best, it's going back pocket of jeans, getting washed.
Right.
Washed.
But if you're out there connecting with every parent you can and giving that parent the flyer, your communication is so much better. I promise you.
If you're trying to paper the neighborhood, paper it on the exit when they're coming. Like that's the thing that you're throwing in the SUV window. Like glue a sucker to it, throw it in, like let them have it then. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, connect with mom and dad, let them see that. And that's great. Another great wisdom too, Zach, that you gave there is helping parents see the adults that you trust, because that's going to be a big question for parents when they're dropping off their kid.
Expand that trust. Again, in the same way that you can only be relational yourself in the rooms you're in, the folks you trust can build trust in the rooms that you're not in. Yeah. And that's actually how your ministry is going to grow.
One of the things that Zach and I talk about a lot that I think is really important, if you hear nothing else from this episode, for so many youth pastors, the reason that you're in this position, for so many of you all, you are relationally bent. For so many of your leaders,
you like it.
Yep. For so many
against all odds, you like it. Yeah.
For so many of your leaders that are going to come in, they're answering a call to serve. They may or may not understand how to do relationship well with students, and so helping them be set up for success is one of your primary roles in the way that you train and equip your leaders. And so don't take for an assumption that by throwing an adult leader into a room, they're going to know what to do. Train them well to build the ministry that you want to see happen.
Snap.